His question is that in life we have multiple sets of commitments. We would love to be free of some of them, and yet you have to show up at work when you ought to. That how do you balance between your commitments? In fact, the person who is at greatest peace within their minds or hearts are those who have learned the art of balancing between two things. Because think of life as a weighing scale, like the one with the two on each side. On the one side, you have things you want to do. On the other side, there are things you have to do. If the things you have to do in life are always more than things you want to do, you will always be unhappy and you will live with a feeling of discontent in your mind. If things you want to do are heavier, if that side is heavier, than if the scale is tipping on that side versus things you have to do, then you will be depressed. If you look at those who have no challenges left in their lives, people who can have anything they want, people who can do anything they want, people who have plenty of wealth and they are totally independent, they don't have to go to work in the morning to feed themselves or pay their bills, there is nothing left to work on in life. And when you don't have any project in your life where you have to put in some effort, even if you don't want it, it leads to an extraordinary sense of void and emptiness in you. Because you can have anything you want. And because you can have anything you want, nothing still seems quite enough. You'll say maybe you might have gone through a series of broken relationships, or your current one might be broken, or you might be unhappy. You really have nothing left to do. So the first fundamental mistake we can make is to think that I would like to be able to do whatever I want to do. Believe me, and you can try it any day, this strategy fails every single time. When you can do whatever you want to do, you end up in a very bad place. So if there are certain commitments and you want to do something else, it is impossible to do it without sacrificing something, whatever that thing may be. The question becomes, how much are you willing to sacrifice? It's like if you go buy a new car. Now you can buy a car for $5,000 or you can buy a car for $50,000. You could even buy a car for $500,000. Which one are you going to go for? And which one can you afford? Maybe if you mortgage your house, you could buy a $100,000 car. So you will automatically decide based on how much you are willing to sacrifice. You might say, look, if there are no power windows, it's okay. I have power within me. I can roll the windows down. So I would save my $5,000 there. But if you're buying a house, you will be thinking a little differently. We look upon homes as assets. So you will say, look, in 10 lakhs, I can buy this home. I don't know actually these days if you can buy a home in 10 lakhs, but let's say in 10 lakhs I can buy this home. In 12, I can buy something significantly better. And you'll say, look, I will take on this debt and I will gradually pay it off. How you prioritize depends on how much you are willing to sacrifice. And how much you are willing to sacrifice depends on what your priorities are. It's catch-22. If you have certain principles in your life, forming your priorities will be a piece of cake. And we act, if you're acting based on what your priorities are, there is really no confusion then. My principle is I like to treat my body as a temple and I like to keep it fit. It's important. Otherwise, I won't be able to serve you and I won't be able to do justice to anything that I do if I'm in an unfit body. It's always you're dragging that body then. Now, if that is my principle, which means part of my routine, part of my schedule must factor that in, that I need to have a peaceful meal and I need to exercise. Now, each day is so busy. In fact, this whole month, I've not slept more than 4.5 hours. In fact, 5 is the tops on any given night, and then full-on days. And I haven't really been napping in the afternoon either. Now, I can say, look, I'm so busy. Today, I will miss my exercise. But the moment you give something an option, 90% chances are you will miss it. If something is mandatory in your daily routine, in your life, you will do it. You won't skip it. And that comes down to your priorities. So if my principle is to keep this body fit to the best of my abilities, so that I don't have to go on a medication if I have to save this vessel, then it's imperative that I take out time for exercising. And I do that. Even if it is 9 p.m., I would go, one day I would do cardio, the other day I will do lightweight training. It's so easy to just say, look, I'm crashing on the bed and be done with the day. But the thing is, if you just remember this one thing, if you won't do it, anything that is, if you won't do it, it won't happen. If you want it to happen, you have to do it. And if you have to do it, you have to take out time. And time is linear. Time is sequential in terms of our spending of time. It exists in multiple dimensions at the same time, but I'm not talking from that perspective. Now, since it is sequential, you can either spend it on this or that. So if your ambition is, I want to build a massive company, or I want to really be the CEO of some company, then you've already decided how you're going to spend your time. If then you are spending your time by watching TV or coming to some ashram and listening to discourses, or you are just roaming around, you are spending a whole day watching an ODI, one-day cricket on whatever, you will not get there. It will take you much longer. You will have to sacrifice your family time. You will have to sacrifice your hobby time, your pastime. So without priorities, I actually cannot make a decision on where should I put my effort. I cannot balance it effectively. And it is remarkable how most of us have no clarity on that front in our minds. We don't know what our principles are. We don't know what my priorities are. And if you don't know that, no one can help you. You will try a little bit something here, and then you will try a little bit something there, but this won't give you joy, and that won't give you joy beyond maybe the first couple of days. And then you say, it's not worth it. My life is empty. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm trying to do something, but I'm unable to do it. Of course you're unable to do it because you're not doing it. Dreams are good. Thoughts are great. And having a commitment is phenomenal. But results will only come if you will act on it. No action means no results. So it is hard. If you want to take time out for meditation, for example, you have to curtail your ambitions. When I decided to move back to India, and this person, as you know, I've written about him in my memoir, Vivek, I sat down, I said, look, the reason I'm going back to India is not because I want to make a lot of money. For that, I had other choices. The reason I'm going back to India is because one day I wish to renounce, and I want to spend some time with my parents. Because afterwards, I won't be able to spend time with them. Therefore, my priority was to be close to my parents. Hence, I chose a small town where I was born to live in. And I said, I'll travel to Chandigarh rather than living in Chandigarh or in a metro. If I really wanted to grow my company very big, I should have gone in a metro. But I said no. What was important to me made it very easy for me to decide. And then I cut down on my ambition. I said, I'm not here to build a Microsoft or a Facebook or whatever. And that helped me make a decision. Point is, if I wanted to build a big company, I would have stayed back. I would have made a decision to be in a city that would have been more conducive for rat race and telling lies and getting stressed. And as a result, maybe getting some money. But that was not my priority. So you have to sit down and write your philosophy of life, then your principles, then your priorities, then your projects, and then you strike out the ones you don't want, that are not feeding into those principles or priorities. And that's how you make a decision. So you are living in a very difficult environment. There is no question about it. Although it's also the only country I've seen that people show up to work at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I'm always surprised because by 10 a.m. during my work days, half my day would be done. But here in a private company, they keep sauntering in employees, lazy and relaxed. They just had a cup of tea and they come in, they pour another coffee or something. And they start the day at 10. Like sun is already at its zenith at that time. So if you really want to optimize that time, because remember, some people use 24 hours to do 50 or 100 hours worth of work, even 500. Some people use 500 hours to do 20 hours worth of work. And it is simply a matter of self-discipline. If you really want to make the most of your time, let me tell you, without fail, and I'm a night bird, I like to stay up at night and do my work, but I have realized you get up early in the morning and you start your day early, get the important things done early in the morning, and you'll be amazed how much time is still left to do the things you want to do. So when I figured this little secret, I became a morning bird and a night bird. So I said, I'll get up in the morning and I'll sleep late at night as well. It's a bad thing to do, by the way. But start your day early. As I wrote once, eat the frog first. It'll keep on croaking all day otherwise. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.